Hello and welcome to The Analyst by Vajiram and Ravi, dated 10th December 2025. Here we have taken up important news article from The Hindu and Indian Express newspaper and segregated our discussion into two parts, that is analysis and simplified. In analysis section, the first article is related to mental health care because this article delves into the landscape of mental health care in India. It also highlights some pressing issues along with some vital suggestions. The second news article is related to Election Commission of India because of the several news articles. Starting with Supreme Court reprimanding Election Commission of India for its mechanical responses. Along with that, opposition parties accusing Election Commission of impartiality. Both of these discussions are followed by practice questions along with UPSC PYQs. So stay tuned. The topic for simplified sections are listed here. So let us begin our discussion. The first topic of today's discussion is based on this news article, which relates to the mental health care landscape in India. Now, this article highlights very important issue. It says that the medical health care system or the medical health care interventions in India are primarily based on some standard operating procedures, completely neglecting the human side of it. That's why this article demands the mental health care must radically reimagined as primary pursuit of dignity, disability justice that gives equity, inclusion and diversity. This article is important from the perspective of UPSC, GS Paper 2 syllabus and specifically the social justice and health issues. So, what this article says? First, this article says that mental health distress should be understood from the perspective of dignity. In general, what we have done, what is being done is that this mental health conditions are being adjudged and being treated based on some medical SOPs, standard operating procedures. So, the person who is suffering is reduced to just deficits or the pathological issues, that is the symptoms of a disease. Nobody is paying attention to what is going behind, what are the reasons, because there are several relational, economical, cultural and political causes behind mental health issues. But again, we are focusing on just the medication, standardized therapeutic models. More focus on integration into productive society. What does that mean? As a society, we have set a norm that this is whosoever is doing this part will be considered normal. Whosoever is deviating from this path would be considered abnormal. Now, this is the problem. This is what article says. This ignores the independence or you can say the way of life if any individual wants to choose. If somebody is introvert, somebody doesn't want to get along with people or just want to have their private space, you can simply term them abnormal, because according to you the normality is being social, meeting people, talking to people. So whosoever is pursuing, you will term them abnormal. Now, these medical interventions, these medication or therapeutic models, they are based on these norms. So, certain norms have been created. Deviating from that, you will be abnormal. So, the sole problem is not this norm. Problem is the sole concentration is to bring the person towards this normalcy, which is normal for you, maybe not for the person. To prove these points that we are focusing too much upon SOPs, we are not focusing upon various causes, article takes help of NCRB data, which shows that suicide due to mental distress, there are reasons related to family problems, relational breakdown. Even Government of India has also highlighted several issues like family problem, 31.7% of overall suicide. And why we are taking the data of suicide? Because Suicide is considered one form of mental distress. Then, if you will see marriage relation, 4.8%, love affairs, 4.6%, unemployment, that is economic causes are there, 2.6%, bankruptcy, 3.3%. So, article is saying the same thing, that you are taking one size fits all analogy. Anyone who is approaching you is telling you that I am not feeling well mentally, you are just giving the medication, no emotional touch, no efforts to know that what is the background, what is the reason, but standard operating procedure is being followed, which is resulting in inefficient treatments, or at higher level it is proving as a disincentive for the sufferer to reach out to people, because they know I'll be categorized or I'll be termed as someone who is abnormal. So that is what the article highlights. The condition of the mental health state is grave in India. Even Government of India in its data on PIB, it has highlighted that WHO has highlighted some serious concern related to the mental health care in India. WHO says that it is going to cost you around $1.3 trillion in the span of 18 years, that is from 2012 to 2030. Plus, the National Mental Health Survey has highlighted that 10.6% of adults in India suffer from mental disorders. Further, it says that lifetime prevalence of mental disorder in India is 13.7%. Plus, 15% of India's adult population experiences mental health issues requiring intervention. Interesting thing is, for the healthcare system, we say that there is a rural-urban divide. So, urban areas are being served in a better manner when compared to rural area. But here, the burden is high in the urban area, highlighting another social problem, that is the pressure. The pressure that urban economy brings, the urban life brings to the people as compared to the rural, which is 6.9%. The most striking thing is around 70 to 92% of people with mental disorder do not receive proper treatment due to various factors: lack of awareness, stigma, shortage of professional, etc., etc. Plus, if you will see the ratio of psychiatrists to the population, it is way below the WHO norm, that is 3 per 1 lakh. In India, it is 0.75 only. Now, why these problems? Why 70 to 92% of the people are not getting treated? Why high prevalence in urban area? Why such high prevalence in adult population? Why these factors are, why these gaps are there? So reason are here. First is the socio-cultural beliefs and low sensitization. Now, what does socio-cultural belief means? Now, generally what happens, a person who is suffering from mental illness or facing mental issues, before that just understand one thing. Mental well-being or being mentally not well is not similar to being mentally ill. So, mental illness is different from being mentally healthy. Just take one example. Mentally sound or mentally healthy is a state of emotional state or mental state in which you can anytime feel low, high, or you will feel dejected. So that is what mental health is all about. So anytime if you are not feeling well, you are feeling lonely or low, your mental health is not good, but that doesn't mean you are mentally ill. The point is, because mentally ill means you have been diagnosed, medically diagnosed with some kind of disease, like schizophrenia is there, dementia is there. So that is mental illness. just feeling low, feeling depressed, you cannot be termed as, every time you cannot be termed as mentally ill. But in India, what happens that there is a taboo attached to this. So the moment a person who is not mentally well or mentally ill, it is being attributed to some supernatural powers. Most of the time it is also associated to your past deeds or karma. So many a times people end up visiting the, you can say, priest, temples or religious places, or those remedies are being appointed or being resorted to. They refrain from going to a proper medical practitioner. That is the first reason, because of this socio-cultural belief. All the words, term, the jhad fook, you might have heard about them. So people resort to those measures despite going to the doctor. Second thing is, the moment a person, you will witness a person, people generally use the term lunatics, pagal, or madman, mad girl. All these words are there, which shows that there is less sensitization and less sensitivity. And how does this impact these numbers? First, the sufferer who is seeker will refrain from seeking help. And if somehow somebody identifies, then the person as well as the family, they will be ashamed. So in most of the time, they will try to do local remedies. They will try to hide the fact. And that is why most of the time, most of the people, they do not get the proper medication or the support. Second is invisible nature of the mental illness. Because the physical illness, if you have broken legs, broken arm, bloody nose, scratch mark, any scar, or any illness, that is, if you are feeling pain in head, stomach, anywhere, it is tangible and visible. But mental illness, in the case of mental illness, it is not true. So many a times, people don't even recognize and are not able to recognize that they are facing some kind of problem, they are facing some sort of problem. And that becomes the cause of delay in the start of medication, and by then situation goes out of hand. That is what, again, the second reason why situation is that poor. Third is, even if you will go to the treatment for the physical disabilities, for the physical problems, you can see the outcome of the medication. So if you have a broken arm, let's say for example, you will find it jointed. Maybe it may take more time with some person or less time with other person, but you will witness some outcome. But in case of mental health care, there are no clear biomarker. You cannot adjudge. It is just perception. Okay, now he is or she is behaving well. Or the person himself or herself tells you that now I am feeling well. That is the only biomarker. And that is how the treatment becomes more difficult, more you can say technical in many aspects. And all these factors contribute towards the treatment gap, as has been highlighted by National Mental Health Survey. 70 to 92% people are not getting any kind of help because they, due to all these reasons, many fail to reach to the doctor. Leave alone what would be the outcome, how people will perceive them, that is secondary thing. Primary thing is they are not able to reach out to anyone. Then another reason is poor mental health infrastructure and professional. Now you have just seen the 0.79 per lakh, the ratio. There are some other studies also which highlight that 0.3 psychiatrists per 1 lakh people are in India. If you will look at the budgetary allocation, it is just 0.06%. Now it lies around 0.5 to 0.9. Between 0.5 to 0.9, it has improved now, but it is still low. If you will see the infrastructure, in general hospital, see the comparison, the number of beds, 0.5 bed per 1 lakh people, where if you will compare it with Brazil, Sri Lanka or South Africa, it is way above. Now, beds in mental hospital itself, they are very low. 1.4 in India when compared to 9.7, 4.9 and around 16.5 in South Africa. So these are the factors why people are not able to avail the benefit of medical facility or not able to avail the medical treatment altogether. Then Medical Healthcare Act came in 2017. It gave a legal recognition to the mental illness. However, the insurance coverage remains uneven. First, it is not spread uniformly. It has not spread uniformly. Plus, insufficient. Still, many people are out of the purview of insurance. Thus, out of pocket expenditure goes high, and again a limitation to those who are seeking a proper treatment. Then you will rarely find any state delineating some fund specifically for mental health care. So there would be a general health care budget. Some part of it will be allocated randomly to the mental health care. So it is not being seen or perceived as a problem which should be addressed at priority basis. It is just being clubbed with the overall health budget and being it is being continued like this. So that is what the major problem is related to the state level ownership and budgetary priorities. Now, moving further, Government of India has initiated several programs to help people. You can see the latest one is the National Tele-Mental Health Program, that is Telemanas, a 24/7 helpline to help you in case of anxiety, depression or any sort of mental related illness. Similarly, the mental health has been integrated into primary health under Ayushman Arogya Mandir. There have been 25 Center of Excellence have been sanctioned under the tertiary care wing of National Mental Health Program. Public funding and budgetary allocation for mental health has been improved at central level, and specifically for Telemanas and National Mental Health Program. So two programs are there, and budgetary allocation has been improved significantly at national level. Apart from that, Mental Health Policy of 2014 recognizes participatory and right-based approach. I have already told you Mental Health Care Act was a landmark legislation which came in 2017. Apart from this, KIRAN helpline is also there to help to perform similar tasks as has been done by the Telemental Health Program Telemanas by the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. Now, what could be the possible way forward? The first is the most important thing. In order to improve the reach access, you need to increase the budgetary allocation. Developed countries, they allocate around 5 to 18% of their annual healthcare budget towards the mental health care. And we are spending roughly around 0.6 to 0.9% of our budget, which itself is very low, towards the mental health care. So we need to increase that. Second thing, we need to train and sensitize the community and society also, because they are the first hurdle towards achieving the proper medical health care, because they feel, most of the time they feel ashamed of their family members who are seeking medical intervention, and they try to keep it hiding. So we need to train and sensitize them. Next is, you need to ensure the same access as you are providing for the physical health problem. So there should be no stigma attached. The hospital, the number of hospitals and centers should be raised, should be improved, should be increased, so that the access can be improved with proper number of psychiatrists and psychologists, so that they can help people with the accessibility part. Then mental illness must mandatorily be put under the life insurance so that the coverage becomes even and sufficient, covering most of the population and reducing the out-of-pocket expenditure. Lastly, digital divide, because you are moving in digital era, you are using the apps like Telemanas or the KIRAN helpline. All these you need to bridge that digital divide. First thing. Second thing, you need to make people aware about these helplines so that when the crisis comes, they know that there is something or there is some apparatus which they can use to avoid some unforeseen circumstances. So you need to bridge the digital divide, as well as you need to improve the awareness also. Now, as per the article, because article focuses more upon the how care should be given, because at the beginning of it I told you that article delves into the question that whether it should be based on standard operating procedure or it should be more intimate or relational, it should be more empathetic. So in that sense, the article suggests various reforms like care as a relational justice. It should not be transactional, that somebody came, you gave them medicine, you tell them the procedure and your job is over. It should be relational. You should try to understand the backdrop. You should try to understand the individual's case. You should try to have an emotional connect with the patient or the subject. Second thing, it should be context sensitive, not standardized. Okay, so it should not be like SOP. So correctly said that treatment compliance, we should be moving from treatment compliance to what does this person need to live life they value. So don't impose the norm that you have created, don't impose the SOPs that you have created. Try to understand their position, try to understand the backdrop and kind of create a tailor-made solution so that they can live the life they value. This will help in bridging the gap. Thirdly, you need to go beyond the service delivery. You need to have this trust building process and respect for lived experience. What is lived experience? It is the personal experience that one has gone through, maybe the good experience, maybe the bad experience. You should have appreciation towards them. You should have this understanding towards this lived experience of subject. You should not be imposing everything on them. Then you need to train professionals also to engage beyond diagnostic categories. So just limiting yourself that somebody came, take for example, somebody came with a problem and you said, okay, you have depression, take this medicine and go. Again, reiterating the same point, don't categorize that you have dementia, you have schizophrenia, you have a depression, you have anxiety. Try to understand the root cause, whether it is political, whether it is economical, whether it is relational, and try to cater the needs as per the individual. Then research also, because all these, the training of people, training of practitioners will only come through the research, and it should not be clinical generalization, but it should transcend to other disciplines and it should link theory with practice. So what is the practical experience and what is the theory? You need to merge, evolve and create research papers so that the practitioners can get help from them. So the first question has been asked in UPSC in 2020. In order to enhance the prospect of social development, sound and adequate healthcare priority policies are needed, particularly in the field of geriatric and mental health care. Discuss. A 10 marker, 150 word question. Try to attempt it. The next question is your practice question. Despite progressive legislation, mental health care in India continues to face structural and social barriers. We are referring to Mental Health Care Act of 2017. Examine the challenges and suggest measures to ensure accessible and dignified mental health care. Again, a 150 word 10 marker question. Try to attempt them. The next discussion is based on the Election Commission of India and because of various news articles that have featured. Now, starting with Supreme Court slammed EC Election Commission for its mechanical response to SIR related queries. So, as you all know, case related to SIR is going on in Supreme Court, and the questions that has been asked to ECI, the response they gave, Supreme Court was not happy. Simultaneously, the winter session is going on, and opposition encircled the ruling party on the matter of Election Commission. Some parties, some opposition parties like Samajwadi Party, they talked about the removal of CGI from the selection panel that we are going to cover. What was it and what they are suggesting? While the Congress party is accusing Election Commission of impartiality and it is accusing of partiality, questioning their integrity and independence, and also questioning the removal of CGI apart from the old issue of EVM, SIR and VVPAT. So these are the issues and these are the political debate, but we are going to cover the aspect of Election Commission of India, issues related to structural aspect of Election Commission of India and way forward. Important from your GS paper 2 perspective, functions and responsibilities of various constitutional bodies. Now you know that in India, your preamble talks about India being a democratic republic, the aspiration of India being a democratic republic. Now this word democratic simply means the sovereign power with the people. What does that mean? The people, the population has the power in a democracy. And how population is exercising this power in indirect democracies like India? Through elections. They are electing their representative and sending them to various houses so that the governance apparatus can be run efficiently. Now, to uphold this democratic value, which in Raj Narayan versus Indira Gandhi case of 1975, Supreme Court has termed democracy or democratic values as basic structure. So, in order to uphold that democratic character, what is most important thing? Elections. Regular election, free election and fair election. And for that, Constitution of India gave the birth to Election Commission of India through Article 324. So, from its inception in 1950 till 1989, it worked as a single member body with one election commissioner. Now, as you can see in subclause 1, that it has been created for the superintendence, direction and control of election, that is vested in the Election Commission. Now, subclause 2 says that Election Commission shall consist the Chief Election Commissioner and such number of other commissioners, if as the President may from time to time fix, and the appointment of Chief Election Commissioner and other Election Commissioner shall subject to the provision of any law made in that behalf by Parliament. So, he'll be appointed by President until a law is made by Parliament in this regard. So, till 1989, there was a single member Election Commission. President used to appoint Election Commission, Commissioner of India with the advice of Prime Minister of India. But in 1989 October, the rule changed and the voting rights, the voting age was reduced from 21 to 18. Now, this reduction necessitates some electoral roll revision and new names were to be added. So, workload increased. So, using this power, because Parliament never enacted till then, Parliament did not enact any law related to the appointment of Chief Election Commissioner or other commissioner. So President had the power. So 2 more commissioners were appointed. But this was reverted in 1990. Again a single member body. But finally in 1993, the shape and the structure that you are witnessing today, that Chief Election Commissioner plus 2 election commissioner, this became a norm from 1993. But it was being done by President with advice of the Prime Minister of India, because Parliament, because it is saying subject to the provision any law made in that behalf. So Parliament did not make any law in that regard. Now in 2023 what happened? A constitutional bench of Supreme Court, it came up with a verdict and said that in order to secure the independence of the Election Commission of India, we should not be leaving this matter to the discretion of executive, but there should be a panel to appoint Chief Election Commissioner and Election Commissioner. And this Supreme Court panel, they said that there would be Prime Minister, there would be Leader of Opposition, and there would be Chief Justice of India. Now, the moment this verdict came, Supreme Court made it very clear that this would be there until Parliament passes any law in this regard. So what Parliament did, there was an uproar that judiciary is encroaching upon the domain of executive. It is interfering. People called it judicial overreach, and subsequently Government of India came up with a act of 2023, which delineated various things. So till 2023 it was just going by the convention of President appointing CEC and other ECs. From 2023 onwards it is being done through an act. Now what would be the structure? The same structure, CEC and 2 election commissioner. Then eligibility criteria, which was not there earlier. Now Section 5 says current or former secretary level officer can only be appointed. So a person who has served as a secretary to Government of India or is serving as a secretary to Government of India, the post, the level of secretary, you should not be confused with that it is only open to IAS. No. Any person who is at the level of secretary in the Government of India or the state government, they can be appointed. So earlier was the case that many a times the senior most election commissioner was appointed as CEC. But now what has happened, that this pool has broadened. So a person from outside can also be brought in. This is the first change. Then there would be a search committee, which Section 6 talks about. Who will be there in the search committee? It will be chaired by Minister of Law and Justice with 2 senior officials. This is a 3-member committee, and it will prepare a panel of 5 names. Search committee. Now these names will go to the selection committee. Now this selection committee will include Prime Minister, 1 cabinet minister, and Leader of Opposition. So what has happened? CJI has been removed from this selection panel, and this is what the news is about. Some opposition parties are asking that CJI should be included, while others are saying that Leader of Opposition from Rajya Sabha should also be included, because this is just for the Lok Sabha. So some are suggesting that Leader of Opposition from Rajya Sabha should also be included. Some are saying Lok Sabha should be, CJI should be included. All in all, the issue is these are political debate. And definitely you can identify the theme that election commission and electoral reforms are important theme from the perspective of examination. these debates, because every time there is an election, one party loses, one party wins. So there are always allegations over the impartiality, integrity, independence of the election commission. But as a we should be waiting for Supreme Court judgment or any High Court judgment, if anything comes against the Supreme Court, uh, before reaching out to conclusion. All in all, there are, apart from these political debates, there are some structural issues with the Election Commission of India. No doubt, Election Commission of India has an stellar record in terms of conducting free and fair election. Even global powers have also appreciated the Indian Election Commission. So there is no doubt in that they have done their job very well. But there are some structural issues related to the Election Commission of India. The first and foremost is, before this, as you have seen, the president used to appoint, then Supreme Court intervened, then Parliament brought in law. Why these things are there? Because Constitution does not define the qualification of ECs. So it has left the matter to the discretion of executive. Interpretation and discretion of executive. So as and when you want to pass a law, pass the law. Second, the tenure. It is also being fixed through a statute, not by constitution. So 65 years of age, 6 years of tenure, before that you can resign. All these things are through law by the parliament, not by the constitution. So constitution does not guarantee the tenure. Third, there is an scope of post-retirement appointment. So there is no cooling off period. So once you are retired, you are well qualified to be appointed on any post related to central or state government, and there is no cool off period. You don't need to wait. So again, there is a question of their independence, because in lieu of this good posting after retirement, people allege that many people who are holding these high offices may end up giving decisions in favor of the ruling parties. Then comes the asymmetry in removal safeguard. So if you will see, the CEC can be removed in a manner of Supreme Court judge. So misbehavior, incapacity, those are the grounds, and this 2/3 majority plus 50% majority, all those things. So the manner in which you can remove Supreme Court judge, the impeachment, you can remove CEC. But for other ECs, they can be removed anytime, just on the recommendation of CEC. So they don't have any safeguard regarding their removal also. Then the next thing is related to political parties regulation. So they have power to register the parties under RPA Act, but they cannot deregister the political party. Okay, they can give recognition, they can withdraw the recognition, national or state party, but they cannot deregister. And that is why there is proliferation of political parties. And why people make political parties? Because there are several benefits in income tax and other donation related norms which you get when you have taken money or given money as a political party. So people have made, you can say, proxy political party just to do this black and white business. Next thing is model code of conduct. Now this is more about moral persuasion. So you are just giving guidelines, you are persuading people to follow moral code of conduct, and it has no statutory backing at all. Again, without any statutory backing, it gives a scope of uneven application of MCC, and that is what parties allege, that ECI is being biased towards the ruling parties and not implementing MCC correctly on their leaders, their candidates. So that is what it is, because it is not statutory. They cannot enforce it. They can simply ask you to do certain things. Then, in case of bribery alone, they cannot countermand polls. So if there is a case of bribery and you reached out to ECI cannot countermand poll. It has to simply go ahead with the electoral process, and rest would be done by the courts only. Then the expenditure of election commission, like another constitutional body, that is Comptroller and Auditor General of India, their expenditure is charged upon the consolidated fund of India, while their expenditure is voted by the parliament. So again, executive control hampering the autonomy of the functioning of the election commission. Then administration, huge workload. Every now and then you will find elections are going on, and they have no independent secretariat. This is the first issue. Second is, because they don't have any independent secretariat, the people who are working in Election Commission of India are brought in on deputation from different departments. So they are bound to return back to their mother department. And in order to secure their place and in order to remain in good books in their home department, there are chances that they might not work in an impartial manner. So again, this lack of independent secretariat creates another problem. Then, for the decriminalization of politics, so what election commission asks you to divulge the information of criminal antecedents, the property, this and that, but it cannot take any action. It is only when you are proven guilty in court, you have got certain certain amount of sentence, then only you will be disqualified and will be barred from fighting elections. Otherwise, election commission has no power to stop you, even if your affidavit is highlighting some concerning details. Lastly, the scale of the election that is being going on in the country, plus use of technology. Now VVPAT and EVMs have revolutionized the election methodology and election in India, being replicated in various countries also. But at the same time, Election Commission is facing challenges vis-a-vis the allegation that are being posed in front of it, the tampering of EVM and all. And although Election Commission has given an open challenge to tamper, and nobody till date, nobody was able to do that. However, this remains a challenge, because every now and then if allegation is there, it affects your credibility, because you are not there to explain it to each and everyone, and that will impact the trust of the voter. Plus the another issue is the turnaround data. Many constituencies it has been observed, especially in general election of 2024, it was observed that the turnout numbers, the percentage of voting, they changed after some time, because Election Commission gave certain number, let's say 40% voting was done there. After some time, the number was revised. So again, giving a loophole to the people or the opposition parties to again blame you for manipulating the data. So these are the structural issues. Now, what could be done? The very good suggestion came with the 25th Law Commission and the Goswami Committee report, and they talk about the removal of election commissioner in parity with CEC. So the methodologies that are being adopted for CEC should be adopted for other election commissioners. Then financial independence, that is, it should also be charged upon. Creation of permanent and independent secretariat so as to restore the autonomy and independence. Then they also suggested back then collegium based appointment, but they suggested inclusion of Chief Justice of India, which is not done. Now PM, LOP and the cabinet minister, these are the three members. Then they also suggested seniority based elevation to Chief Election Commissioner. So there would be 3 election commissioners, Chief Election after his retirement. Among these remaining 2 election commissioners, whosoever is senior should be promoted to the CEC rank. Further, penal provision for false declaration. If you have given false affidavit, Election Commission should be given power to give you can say take punitive action so that it can act as a deterrence. Then strong action against bribery in election. They have also highlighted this issue that election commission lacks that power. Finally, the common electoral role across all levels, from central, from parliamentary to assembly to local bodies, at all level the common role should be maintained, plus the deregistering of the political parties. So whatever are the challenges to the Law Commission and the Dinesh Goswami Committee, they both have suggested the measures to remove those structural issues in the Election Commission. Here is the practice question, one from the previous year UPSC question. In light of the recent controversy regarding the use of EVM, what are the challenges before the Election Commission of India to ensure the trustworthiness of election in India? 150 word, 10 marker. Second question is, despite its constitutional status, the Election Commission of India continues to grapple with issues that undermine its autonomy and effectiveness. Examine the key challenges faced by the ECI. A 250 word, 15 marker question. Try to attempt them. Coming to the simplified section, the first news is related to the dietary habits of Indian. And this article highlights a major issue that though India has achieved the food security to some extent, but now it is lagging behind in the field of nutritional security. And it highlights a very serious issue that how the lifestyle and the priorities or the income have made this tendency or encouraged this tendency to go for easier and cheaper foods that we know as ultra processed foods. So what is ultra processed food? You might have heard about these ready-made food material which you just need to fry, or the ice cream or the aerated drinks. All these things are ultra processed food which are being created by a formula in the industry itself using various additives, colors, and to improve the appearance and longevity of the products. They are mostly ready-made, just quick bite, and you will feel better and you can go ahead doing your work. But practically they lack the nutritional content to a large extent, and they have huge side effect because most of them are you might have heard about adulterated foods and packaging showing different kind of data, but the product is altogether different. So this article highlights some issues related to that, important from the perspective of GS paper 2 health and hunger, and we are going to take up these pointers so that you can take them and you can use them in your answers to enrich them. So first thing, as I have told you, that India has moved from calorie deficiency to nutrition deficiency. So calorie intake is fine, but now nutritional deficiency is there. Now once this is the economic cycle, if your income goes up, you tend to have you will have, the population has this tendency to move away from cereals. They go towards protein, meat, milk products and all those things. But in India, what is happening? These fast foods, this ultra processed food, packaged foods, they are readily available, plus they are cheap too. So people are moving towards them. So this NSSO survey of household consumption expenditure survey of 2023 shows that 62% of dietary energy comes from low quality carbohydrate, that is refined cereal and sugar. And processed food spending has increased sharply, more than 300%, and UPFs, that is ultra processed foods, are no longer a luxury item. They have become daily necessity. Again, it is highlighting another social issue that if male is working, then if both male and female are working, so they don't have time to prepare a meal or to go to spend times to have a healthy meal. So both are preferring to take processed food, fast food, ultra processed food. Secondly, if you are the flip side of it, if female is not working, then she is going into trap of unpaid care work. So this is a double whammy where solution for one thing may become problem for other. But this is reflecting one very major urban characteristic, that how it is impacting the male and female population, and how it is impacting the dietary habit, that people are more inclining towards the processed food. Then protein and micronutrient deficiency. Now average protein intake has improved to 44 gram, but it is still very low than the recommended WHO value, that is 70 gram a day. So there is a deficit of around 26 gram per day. Then shortfall in pulses, vegetables, quality protein and vegetable intake remains way below the 400 gram requirement, and the reason is same, because of the changing structure of urban economy or urban social landscape. So this is what it is. More, how it is impacting India. So the global burden of disease 2023, it highlighted that 57% of India's total disease burden is diet related. Plus 1 in 8 adults globally, not India, globally is obese, and India is increasingly being leader in this trend. Second, there is a double burden. There is undernutrition and there is overnutrition in terms of obesity and diabetes. Now what is the problem? Article highlights some reason behind such development or such you can say the disbalances in nutritional security. First is our MSP regime, that is minimum support price, and PDS regime is skewed towards cereals, that is wheat and rice. Lesser focus on pulses, vegetables, fruits. Okay, so more skewed towards cereals. So you are promoting, government is promoting to grow cereals. If you have better accessibility, the price is low, you have this dietary habit, government is promoting this, obviously your diet basket will have the abundance of cereals, and that is why you are getting 62% of your energy through cereals. Then there is limited state support for pulses, nutri-cereals, fruit, vegetable, protein rich foods. Okay, then another very interesting thing that this article highlights, that if you are focusing too much on UPF, that is ultra processed foods and meat, it is going to contribute toward the emissions also, because factories are there for UPFs and you are using fuel to process your food and the manufacturing process. In short, the meat production, you know, the methane, the nitrogen oxide and every emission. So is true with the rice cultivation, intensified rice cultivation. So what scientists suggest, that move towards plant-based food. It will help in reduction of methane. It will help in reduction of nitrous oxide. It will help in reducing your food expenditure also. So this is what is suggestion of the scientist, that moving towards plant-based diet, vegetable, fruits will help in emission also. Further, state must reorient subsidies towards nutrient dense food, plus integrate nutrition into health and agricultural policies. Second, support farmers to grow pulses, millets, fruits and vegetables. Promote regenerative agriculture so that the quality and the efficacy of soil remains intact. Further, invest in affordable, culturally appropriate healthy foods, not only processed food, ready to cook food, tasty food. You should be creating culturally accepted healthy foods. Then treat dietary risk as preventive health priority, not lifestyle choices. So terming them lifestyle choices and nobody can do anything would be counterproductive. treat them as preventive health priority, that you need to prevent this trend in order to have a long-term human capital. The second news article is related to Trump, President Trump, who is mulling to, who again has threatened India that he will put tariff on the Indian rice, the import of Indian rice, so as to protect the domestic growers in the USA. Now, from your perspective, it is important from GS paper 3, the international trade as well as marketing of agricultural produce. And here in this article, we will look into is it going to impact India or not? The simple answer is no, because if you will see what India is sending to US out of, because India is biggest producer and exporter of rice. So out of all the export, the export to US is only 3.3% plus. Problem lies in the US import. So out of all import that US is doing, the Indian rice contributes to 26% of US import. So from our perspective, it is not a matter of concern. If you are putting barriers or if you are putting tariff, you are only 3.3% of my export. It is not going to impact me. But yes, it is going to impact US because we are 26%, we form 26% of their import. Further, this article highlights few interesting things, that US itself is a net exporter of rice. So US is not that big producer. If you will compare it with India, US produces 7 million ton of the rice annually if compared to 150 million ton of India. Out of this 7 million, 3 million ton it exports, and it imports around 1.6 million ton only. So it imports 3 million ton and half of it only it imports. So a net exporter is accusing others that you are dumping your rice in my market, while you are exporting just the double amount what you are importing. Second thing, value wise, if you will see, yes, US is paying more because the bulk of rice that US imports from India is high grade rice, basmati rice. So US imports high grade rice from Thailand and India, and both are high grade rice, and the prices are just double than the normal broken rice. So if you will see here, $900 for Indian basmati, whereas 560 to 570 per ton for broken white rice, almost half. So even this amount that you are importing from India and Thailand, the value is very high. So quantity wise it is not that significant, but yes, if you are looking at value, it will be high because what you are exporting is a low quality rice. So you are exporting low quality rice, so less money is coming in, but you are importing high quality rice, so more money is, and that is what concerns Mr. Trump, and that is why he threatens India that I will put tariff to stop import. So what analysts have to say, what economists have to say, that since the share of USA is so low, that if you will see the basmati export, the West Asian countries are leader in importing, and if you can see value, it stands nowhere when compared to the West Asian countries. So as I already told you, that out of 5,944 million ton that million dollar worth export that India did, only $300 something million is to US, rest is to other countries. If you will look into the non-basmati export, then also US stands way below the West African, because the major you can say the destination for non-basmati export are the West African countries. So again, experts believe that it will not have that impact that previous tariff, 50% tariff, had on the shrimp industry, jewelry industry and garments industry. They crippled these three industry, but for rice export it is not going to impact that much because the ratio is very low. Coming to the next topic, that India and Nepal have concluded their army exercise in Uttarakhand, and military exercises are important from the perspective of UPSC. UPSC has asked question based on this. So just look at the SURYA exercise between India and Nepal, joint military exercise covering various domains like jungle warfare, counter-terrorism, mountainous terrain operation, humanitarian assistance during disaster, environmental conservation and integrated ground aviation operation. High-tech technologies were used like unmanned aerial system, drone-based investigation, surveillance and reconnaissance system, AI-enabled decision support tool, unmanned logistical vehicles and armored protection platforms were also included. The purpose is to become operational ready and to maintain that synergy at battalion level between two neighboring countries. So if in any case, any eventuality there is need that both armies have to operate simultaneously or together with, these operations should be seamless. So aim was that. From your perspective, the neighboring countries and the respective military exercises have been listed. Bangladesh Sampriti, Bongo Sagar, India Bangladesh Corpet, exercise Matri Shakti. With Myanmar, IMBAX, Indian Myanmar Corpet. Bhutan, not military exercises but training exercises for Bhutanese army. Sri Lanka, Mitra Shakti, Slinex, exercise Dosti. Now this exercise Dosti is a trilateral exercise between India, Sri Lanka and Maldives. Along with Maldives, India conducts Ecoverin military exercise. Apart from these countries, India also conducted some joint exercise with China, hand in hand, which we know, but it has been suspended since 2020 onwards. So last happened in 2019, hand in hand. So let's move on to the next topic, that is related to the removal of High Court Judge Mr. Swaminathan, who is presiding High Court Judge of Madras. So 100 MPs have signed a notice and given it to the Speaker for his removal. What was the case? The MPs in their motion, they have accused High Court Judge Mr. G.R. Swaminathan that they have raised serious question regarding impartiality, transparency and the secular functioning of the judiciary. His actions are serious questions on this. This is what has been alleged. The matter was related to lighting of the Karthigai Deepam lamp, which was atop a stone pillar on the Thiruparakundram hill in Madurai district of Tamil Nadu. So this lamp has been allowed to be lighted and adjoined by a dargah, and this pillar was contested between this temple and dargah, and suddenly this verdict came, and that is why the MPs have submitted their motion. Now, what is the procedure of removal of High Court Judge? The Judges Inquiry Act 1968 talks about this, and to introduce a motion to remove High Court Judge or a Supreme Court Judge, you need to have support of 100 members, 100 MPs in Lok Sabha and at least 50 members in Rajya Sabha. Then the presiding officer is the final authority. So you will give this motion to the presiding officer. He has the power to decide upon whether he is going to accept it or reject it. Once he has accepted, he will constitute a 3-member investigative committee, which will include Supreme Court Judge, Chief Justice of High Court and a distinguished jurist. So 3-member committee he will form. Then this committee will frame the charges. An investigation will be conducted based on these charges. Then this report of this investigation will be submitted to the presiding officer of the house. In case of Lok Sabha, it is speaker. In case of Rajya Sabha, it is chairman. So this report will be submitted. If it is proved that the ground is misbehavior and incapacity, this will be put, the motion will be taken up for consideration and debate. Now once that step is over, it will be put for vote. Now there are two conditions. First is, it should be considered passed, or the motion will be through only when it is passed through 2/3 of present and voting. And this 2/3 of present and voting is not the only condition. The total number of vote should be more than 50% of the total membership of the house. So these two conditions should be met in both the house, and once this condition is met, the judge is deemed to be removed from his office. Now lastly, this news article which talks about the blue collar notice against Goa club owner. You all know that there was an incident of fire in the Goa, and the owners are absconding. So finally Interpol has released a blue collar notice related to GS paper 2 international organization. And what is blue collar notice? As per the CBI website, it is to have someone's identity verified, to obtain particulars of a person's criminal record, to locate someone who is missing or is an identified or unidentified international criminal, or is wanted for violation of ordinary criminal law and whose extradition may be requested. So basically, the blue notice is to locate, identify, obtain information on a person of interest. After this, the red notice seeks arrest of a person, location and arrest. So basically, this Interpol has 8 types of notices. 7 of them are colored notice addressing different cause, and 8th is Interpol UNSC special notice to tell the member countries about an individual or an organized entity who are subjected to United Nations sanctions. So there are 7 colors and 8 UNSC special notice. So blue notice has been issued against the absconding owners of this Goa pub, and from your perspective, Interpol is important, which is a multi-country organization, largest international police organization, headquarters situated in Lyon, France, and languages include Arabic, English, French and Spanish. It is not part of the UN system. It is an independent international organization. So whenever a country wants to track, trace or arrest any fugitive, they will connect with the Interpol. So there are 2 bodies, General Assembly, with each member country have their representative, and for day-to-day operation, a General Secretariat is also there, for which General Secretary is appointed for 5-year terms by the members of General Assembly. So in every country, Interpol has one national central bureau, that is nodal authority of that particular country. And who is running these NCBs, that's nodal authority? The local police of that particular country will be entrusted with operation of NCB. So any country, let's say India wants to connect with, let's say USA, so India will talk to NCB of USA. In case of India, CBI is the NCB, that is National Central Bureau of Interpol in India. So that is all for today. Stay tuned for more such updates. Thank you.